Hi friends, I'm Miss Deanna and I'm here at the Bell Road branch of the Newburgh-Chandler Public Library. And we are here to imagine a story. Imagine a story. What will you be? Where will you go? What will you see? Come on this adventure with me. Today's story has 3 characters: the sun, the wind, and a traveler. And like all good stories, it begins with once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a man walking down a road, and the sun and the wind watched the man walking down the road. The wind bragged to the sun, "I'm stronger than you. I bet I can get that traveler to take off his cloak." The sun said, "Okay, let's see what you've got." So the wind began to blow. But the man just tightened his coat around him. So the wind blowed harder. And the man pulled his gloves on tight and wrapped the scarf around his neck and tightened his coat even more. The leaves were blowing, and the trees were blowing, and the birds were barely hanging on, and the wind blew even harder. But the harder the wind blew, the tighter the traveler wrapped the cloak and his scarf and his gloves around his body. Finally, the wind had no breath left. So the wind went away, and the sun took his turn. And the sun peeked out from behind a cloud and started to warm the frosty ground. Oh, the traveler took off his scarf. And the sun shone a little bit brighter. And the traveler took off his gloves. And the sun shone even brighter and warmed the earth, and the birds began to sing in the trees, and the flowers started to bloom, and the traveler was so warm he took off his coat. The wind reappeared and said, "How did you do that? How did you get the traveler to take off the coat?" And the sun said, "Sometimes gentle persuasion is much stronger than force." The end. Well, I was using a book today called The Contest Between the Sun and the Wind, and it's a retelling by this author of a very old fable by Aesop. And Aesop's fables always have a moral or a lesson. And today's lesson is sometimes gentle persuasion is stronger than force. Do you know what that means? Have you ever wanted something that somebody else had at school and you went over and you just decided you were going to take it. I bet that didn't turn out very well. Think about if you're playing with something. Are you going to share with the person who comes up and says, could I play with you? I would like to share these toys with you. Or are you going to want to play with the person who comes up and just takes it by force? Gentle persuasion is stronger than force. Think about when you want something at home and you go to your mom or your dad and you say, I want ice cream now. What kind of reaction do you get from your parents? Probably not the one you want. Instead of saying, if I eat all my peas on my plate, then can I have some ice cream? I bet you get lots better results. I have a few books that I'd like to show you today, and they retell the story of the sun and the wind. And some of them tell it the same way, and some of them tell it differently. This one is a cartoon. It's called Fable Comics, and it tells all different kinds of fables. And the one it tells for the sun and the moon is a lot of fun because it starts out with them not arguing about the traveler. The sun says, see that ice cap? I'm going to melt it. And it melts it. And then the wind says, see that scarecrow? I'm going to blow him away. And he blows him away. And then that leads to the contest about the man and the coat. This one is called The Weather's Bet. And this one includes the sun and the wind and the rain. And first the wind tries, but the shepherdess and her sheep just dance in the wind. And the rain tries, and she just dances in the mud. And then the sun comes out. So a little bit different because it adds the rain to that one. This is a different story altogether. It's called How Music Came to the World. And it's about the sky god and the wind god. And they have to trick the sun god, who has all the musicians, to give up the musicians so that they can come down to earth, so that earth can have music. And not just music like people singing or instruments playing, but also music like frogs chirping and birds in the trees. This book is really special. This one is called Mouse Match, and it has a mother and father mouse who want to find the perfect husband for their daughter. So they go to find somebody wise to talk to. So first they talked to the sun, and the sun says, well, the wind is more wise and strong than I am. So then they talk to the wind, and then the wind sends them to the mountain, and then eventually the mountain sends them to the strongest of all. But I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have to check out the book and find out the ending yourself. But the neat thing about this book is it comes apart and makes one long mural to tell the story. And on the back of this mural, because this story originates in China, is the story told in Chinese. So if you can read Chinese, you can read it on this side. We also have a book called Catch the Wind and Harness the Sun. This is interesting because the sun and the wind really are powerful, and we use the sun for solar power, and we use the wind for wind power. And this has a lot of different experiments that you can do to harness the sun or catch the wind. For instance, you can cook with the sun. Well, you can make sun tea, and I bet a lot of you have heard of that before. The other thing that you can do with the sun that I think is kind of fun is you can make your own sundial. So before we had clocks and before we had watches, and before we had cell phones to tell us what time it was, people would have a sundial. So if you would like to experiment with making a sundial, you just need a nice sturdy paper plate, a straw or a very straight stick, a chopstick, a skewer, something like that that stands up nice and straight, not bendy. And then I use a little bit of clay, but you could also use mud, or if the ground outside your house is soft enough, you can put the stick right into the ground. So I'm using the side of the paper plate that is white, and I have cut a hole in the center. Then I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to put it in that hole. Now the problem with this, friends, is you can see how it tips to one side, and that's not going to work right. So we're going to take a little bit of Play-Doh or clay or mud or whatever else you have. And we're going to put that on the other side so that when I push it down, it will stick to whatever is underneath. Now you can try to tape around the outside here, but I have always found that very hard to do. This works best. Now you'll notice that I have not put any numbers on here. On a regular clock, you would see 12 and 9 and 3 and 6, all evenly distributed around the clock. But on a sundial, it's not going to work that way. You have to wait for the sun. So you put this outside someplace where it will stay safe, and you might need to tape it down or put something on top to hold it down. And as the sun shines, it's going to create a shadow. So you need a clock to start with. And at 1 o'clock, you go and you mark where the 1 o'clock is and you put a 1. At 2 o'clock, you mark where the shadow is. But they won't be evenly distributed like they are on a regular clock. You'll have to try it and find out. But eventually you'll have your own sundial, if this is something you would like to try. The other book that I found that I want to show you more of, because it is so good, we are going to save it, and we're going to do it next week. We're going to talk all about the power of the wind. There's a poem. It's called Who Has Seen the Wind by Christina Rossetti. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. I have the wind up here, but we don't really see the wind like this. We only see the wind when other things move. And this book is all about how to make mobiles, paper, wind chimes, and wind socks. And it's so good that we're going to look at this next week as part of our adventure in art. So come back for that. All right, friends, it's time for us to say goodbye to the sun and goodbye to the wind. And today I'd like to say, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Oh, don't you know, dear, how much I love you? Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.